Ebonyi youths again have made headlines. Reports come out that they gave suspected Fulani herdsmen a hot chase out of their locality. This story is already spreading on social media. Clips are showing youths standing firm and sending a message that the farmlands will not be trampled without resistance. And my people, this matter is not just a one-day thing. For months, communities in Ebonyi have been alert because of attacks earlier in the year where lives were lost and farms destroyed. So when cattle appeared on the farmland recently, the youths quickly came together and pushed back strongly. Now viewers, remember to like this video and subscribe so that more people can hear this gist. It helps us keep bringing you updates like this. Please do that right now as we continue. The bravery of the youths is something people are praising, but there is also a question. How long can communities keep chasing away herders without government providing lasting solutions? This is where the discussion becomes bigger. You know, farmer-herder clashes are not new in Nigeria. They have been with us for years, but recently they have increased because land is shrinking, population is rising, and grazing routes are not clear. So when farmers plant and cattle enter, destruction happens. The farmers lose, the herders feel pushed, and conflict begins. Like this video and subscribe, my people, don't forget. Let's push this conversation forward. In Ebonyi, what makes the matter more sensitive is the memory of the killings in Nkalaha area earlier in the year. Families still mourn, and the pain is still fresh. That is why the youths act very quickly whenever they suspect cattle grazing. They don't want another repeat of tragedy. It's not just bravery, it's also trauma that drives them. But we must also ask, does chasing them away solve the bigger problem? Or does it only delay it until the next time cattle appear? We must keep talking about solutions. Ranching is one idea. Create settled places for cattle so they don't roam into farms. State governments like Ebonyi have made laws against open grazing, but enforcing those laws is not always easy. Sometimes the police are not close by. Sometimes the community has to defend itself before officials arrive. But even with that, violent confrontation is dangerous because it can lead to more loss of life. Subscribe, my people, please subscribe so we can grow this channel and continue this kind of conversation. Now, let's also look at the national picture. Across the country, similar clashes are happening, sometimes in Benue, Plateau, Taraba, Ondo, even Katsina. Every week we see headlines of attacks and sometimes reprisals follow. Just recently, there was a shocking attack in Katsina during early morning prayers in a mosque. That shows us something. Once conflict deepens, it doesn't only stay in the farm, it spills into villages, towns, and even places of worship. So preventing the first spark is very important. The Ebonyi youths showed bravery, yes, but we must also highlight wisdom. Wisdom means not letting anger push into violence that can spread wider. Instead, communities can work with vigilantes registered under the law, with police, with civil defense to make sure suspects are handed over properly. Evidence like photos, videos, GPS marks can also be used to make reports and even demand compensation. If one farmer loses his crops, it may look small, but when hundreds lose together, it affects food security and pushes prices up for all of us in Nigeria. That's why we must see it as everybody's problem, not only Ebonyi's. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'm reminding you again because it is very important. The story also tells us that bravery is not only about chasing with sticks or stones. Bravery is also about making the harder choice to follow lawful steps. When you hand suspects to police instead of taking matters into your own hands, it prevents revenge. It also helps build trust in the system. And we must ask, are government authorities listening enough? Are the dialogues with herders and farmers reaching the grassroots? Because we hear of meetings between Cattle Breeders Association and security agencies. But are those agreements trickling down to the ordinary herder moving with cows and the ordinary farmer planting yam or rice? That is where the gap still lies. And my viewers, Please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Now let me put this to you directly. Do you believe chasing suspected herders out of farmland is the right solution? Or do you think the government must provide stronger ranching and compensation systems? Should communities continue to defend themselves this way? Or will that create more cycles of attack and reprisal? Share your opinion in the comments. Your voice is very important. As we keep talking about this Ebonyi incident, let's not forget the bigger picture: food security. Each time farmland is destroyed, the farmer loses, the market loses, and the consumer loses. Prices go up, scarcity increases, and hunger spreads. So even if you live in Lagos or Port Harcourt and you think Ebonyi is far, the yam you buy, the rice you eat is affected by these clashes. This is why everyone must care. Once again, if you are watching, like this video and subscribe. Don't wait until the end before doing it. So let's conclude this gist for now. Ebonyi youths have shown courage by standing up to suspected herders entering their farmland. The story has spread quickly and it reflects the tension that communities still face after past attacks. It also raises the urgent question of government response, of ranching, of enforcing anti-grazing laws, and of how to stop a small farm clash from growing into a wider conflict. My people, courage is not only in chasing, it is also in building peace and standing for the lawful path. Now, what happened in Ebonyi is not an isolated case. In Benue State, we have seen repeated clashes between farmers and suspected herders. In fact, Benue has one of the strongest anti-open grazing laws in the country, yet still, conflicts happen. Why? Because enforcement is difficult, land boundaries are not respected, and sometimes armed groups take advantage of the situation to cause violence. When Ebonyi youths chased out herders, it was almost like a mirror of what has happened in Benue many times. Viewers, remember to subscribe right now as we move forward. In Plateau State too, the story is similar. Communities in Bassa, Riyom, Barkin Ladi, and Mangu have witnessed attacks over farmlands and grazing rights. Plateau is known for fertile soil, and once farmlands are threatened, tension rises immediately. Ebonyi people are now experiencing what Plateau people have lived with for many years. The cycle is the same. Cattle enter farms, destruction occurs, farmers resist, clashes start, and lives are lost. But my people, let me remind you, the youths in Ebonyi acted with hot chase this time, but no lives were reported lost in this particular incident. And that is important because it shows that communities can defend their land without it turning bloody. That is where we should be heading. Strong defense, but without killings. That is the balance we need in Nigeria today. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I am reminding you again because the more you do that, the more we can continue bringing these conversations without stopping. Let's move to the economic angle. Nigeria today is battling food inflation. Prices of yam, garri, beans, rice, tomato, and onion are all going up. One big reason is insecurity on farms. When farmers are afraid to go to their land because of herders or bandits, they plant less. When cattle eat crops before harvest, the food supply drops. When Ebonyi youths chased herders away, what they were really doing was protecting not only their own livelihood, but also the food chain of the entire country. Because what grows in Ebonyi markets is carried to Abakaliki, to Enugu, to Onitsha, and even down to Lagos. So this hot chase, though local, has a national impact. Like this video and subscribe, my people, so that this message spreads further. Now let's talk about security. Communities feel abandoned because they believe police or army arrive too late. That is why youths take matters into their own hands. But the danger is when communities start handling security alone, without coordination, it can lead to mob action, revenge killings, and a collapse of trust in the system. So, what should be done? Government must strengthen community policing, civil defense, and vigilante groups under law. If Ebonyi youths are ready to defend their farmland, let the state recognize them, train them, and give them lawful backing. That way, the chase becomes organized protection, not mob action. Also, my people, don't forget, subscribe now so you don't miss the continuation of this gist. Another angle we must not ignore is climate change. Yes, climate is part of the story. Northern Nigeria has been facing desertification, grasslands drying up, water shrinking. Herders are forced to move south looking for fresh grass. That is why they enter Ebonyi, Benue, and other farming states. So if the root problem of desertification is not solved, more clashes will come. That is why some people say ranching is the answer. Because if herders settle in one place with controlled feeding, there will be less movement and less conflict. Viewers, please like and subscribe right now. I keep saying it because it helps us keep going.